My name is Jeff Anderson, and I'm here with Megan Peterson, M-E-G-A-N, Peterson, P-E-T-E-R-S-O-N. I am here with her because I'm deeply grateful, and we are here today because we are scared. We are very scared. We are scared because we know that Joseph Jeyapaul, a priest from India, raped Megan as a child. We know he did it to others. And we also know that he was allowed to flee to India. And we also know that Joseph Jeyapaul, the priest offender, has been and was in ministry and still is, as far as we know. So we're scared for those kids in India, and we're scared for the kids that are still suffering up north, and we're scared for all the other kids that the Vatican has allowed to have offenders roam the landscape without warning. I'm very grateful to Megan for having given us the chance to have worked with her. She came forward and found her voice, brought suit against the Diocese of Crookston in 2007. Since that time, she has worked on her own recovery. She has gotten help. And she has also dedicated herself to doing what she can to protect other kids. This case was scheduled for trial in Crookston August 22nd. And shortly before trial, it's settled. And it's settled because they did what Megan required them to do: create some child protection measures. She insisted on it. She put it first. She continues to, and that's why she is going public with us today here. Those child protection measures cannot protect all the kids, but they can make a big difference for those kids up north who are suffering in silence. And even more important, for the kids who are now at risk in India, where Jeyapaul is. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I consider the triumphal chapter in Megan's recovery to today. I'm going to talk a little bit about what causes us to be so alarmed about Jeyapaul and the well-being of kids. I'm also going to talk about the role of the Vatican in their institutional failure to act here, and why the Vatican is again responsible for not removing a known offender, because they have the power and they have the authority. First, Megan's triumphal chapter in her own recovery. At the age of 14, wanting to become a nun, loving and living the Catholic faith, trusting the priest that was assigned to her parish, Joseph Jeyapaul. He used that trust, the sacrament of confession, and his collar to have his way with her. And while she's not here to talk about the details of that abuse, we are here to say that he raped her. Rape and murder are the most serious crimes that can be committed against a human being. But when a priest uses a collar to rape a child, under these circumstances, it's soul murder. And Megan suffered. She's also an artist. And we have a collection of some of her artwork here that is moving through this screen. And this is the art, some of the art that she has done that I think visually demonstrates the torture that she experienced. And she's here to talk about her recovery and what has to be done to protect children. But the art that is demonstrated here, done by Megan, really speaks volumes. Megan tried to report this to the Diocese of Crookston, and when she called their so-called Victims Assistance Minister and tried to tell them what Jeyapaul had done to her, they hung up on her. She told a school counselor what was going on, and then it got reported. Once it did, Jeyapaul got removed from the Diocese of Crookston and said he was going home to India to care for his sick mother. He was allowed to go back home, and he did return to India, and he was placed immediately back in ministry, unbeknownst to Megan, and at that time we weren't involved. Once we did become involved, we did some investigation, and we learned that Jeyapaul was not only in ministry in India, but he was the Commissioner for Education. And we went public with that information in 2010. We are concerned that he's still in ministry, and we know that he still has access to kids. And in this press packet, there is a letter that I received after having gone public from people in India. And the letter, let's put it up. The letter is addressed to me and the prosecutor, the former prosecutor and county attorney in Crookston, Lisa Hansen, who charged Jeyapaul criminally with criminal sexual conduct. And it urges us to withdraw the charges against him because he is an innocent and wrongfully accused man. We, all the signatories of this letter, ask us to withdraw these charges against Jeyapaul because he's innocent. There are 1,182 signers to this letter. Did you hear that? There are 1,182 signers to this letter. And some of these signatures look like kids to me also. Whether they're kids or not, there are 1,182 people in India attached to Jeyapaul who not only believe he's innocent, but believe he's worthy of trust. And the alarming thing about that is that while these people are trusting him as their priest, as he wears a collar in India, the Vatican has received 2 reports directly from Bishop Balke, first in 2005, after the first report was made, and then after another young girl came forward, received a second report in 2006. In each instance, Bishop Balke reported to the Vatican, the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith, that they had credible allegations of sexual abuse of a minor. The Vatican ignored those reports and chose secrecy over safety, and allows to this day this priest to continue in ministry. This alarms us. This scares us. Jeyapaul is currently in Tamil Nadu, Megan brought this civil suit and reached a resolution of this, and the papers were filed today, shortly before the trial of the case. Throughout the process, she insisted that there be measures now put in place that protect kids in India and protect kids and reach out to victims in northern Minnesota where Jeyapaul was and where other priests have offended. And so as a result of the settlement that was reached for $750,000, there were included in the settlement the child protection measures as a part of that agreement that both the diocese is required to do and that Megan insisted upon. And they're important because they address what she wanted in the first instance and what she wants today. And before we talk about the measures that Megan insisted upon before this case could ever settle, you need to know that she doesn't have to be here today using her name. She filed this case as a John Doe. But because she found her voice and because she feels she needs to speak for those other kids, she's joining us here today and ready and willing to speak, and she will. And what's important about what Megan insisted happened here is that the Diocese of Crookston will post on their website a picture of Jeyapaul. That they will publish his picture in the parish bulletins. That they will warn the parishioners that Jeyapaul is a risk to minors. This will go to India. That they will call victims of child sexual abuse in the diocese and urge them to come forward to law enforcement. That each of the parishes will be required to report allegations of abuse. And it will be published online. That the Diocese of Crookston will notify the Diocese of Uttamand in India, not only about this settlement, but make the terms of it known. And that is the bishop there. And that the diocese also will now do background checks on every employee and volunteer, mandating annual training. These are all things that should have been done before Megan was ever raped by this priest, and could have been. But now the good news is they're being done because of her courage and her will and her desire. And for that, Megan, I and we are deeply grateful. We would like to hear from you, Megan, and why don't you step over here, speak this way, and tell us why you're here.
Yeah, move over just there. There you go. Thank you.
I'm Megan Peterson. I'm here today to speak my truth and to protect kids. It's been a struggle and a journey, the civil suit and going through the trauma. I think it's really important that people are aware that this is still happening and that he is still in ministry. Kids are still at risk. And I think it's important that we take action.
Megan, you suffered multiple instances of abuse, penetration by this priest that you trusted as a young teen. Is that right?
Yes.
And as a result of you having told the school counselor after having called the diocese and been rebuked, Jeyapaul was charged criminally with criminal sexual conduct. Is that right?
Yes.
And you cooperated with law enforcement and the county attorney there.
Yes.
And the county attorney charged Jeyapaul with criminal sexual conduct, but because he fled to India, saying he would return, and now saying he won't return, extradition proceedings have been brought against him. Megan, what do you want, and what did you insist happen before this case could ever settle and not go to trial? What was it you needed and wanted?
That measurements would be put in place to protect kids.
And Megan, you go ahead. And I can say that Megan was instrumental in putting together each of these measures. And this is the first time she has gone public. And she's doing so both because she's scared, not for herself, but for other kids, and she's nervous. But she's here, and I'm happy and grateful for her courage and what she's done. The failure of the Vatican to act, and the Pope in this instance, and the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, to respond to the reports made to it by Bishop Balke that is set forth in the timeline and that we established in this case as a part of the record, is very disturbing. It's very disturbing because the Vatican has the power to pull that priest and remove him from the priesthood. The bishop has the power to suspend him, neither of which have seemed to have happened. In other words, they've chosen to preserve their reputation over the well-being and the safety of the children. In the evidence that we developed in preparation for the trial, we also took the deposition of Bishop Balke, the former bishop of the Diocese of Crookston. And he told us not only had he reported 2 separate allegations to the Vatican, but that he had met with the Vatican. And still no action has been taken and has been ignored. And even after we went public, having discovered that Jeyapaul was on the website and the Commissioner for Education there, they took him off the website. But it was after that that we received this petition asking that the charges, the civil suit and the criminal charges, be withdrawn. And after that, these signatures, John, let me get that. It was after that that these signatures came to us. Okay, Megan? Before I ask you a couple questions, Megan, is there anything else you want to say? When you brought this suit, you were identified as Jane Doe 121. That means you were anonymous. And people up north, in Minnesota, in India, and across the country would not know and would never know who you were because the law protects your identity. And that's the way it should be. Survivors should know they can't come forward and have their identity protected, as we protected yours. But today, you're here in front of the camera. You're doing a press conference. This is being streamed online. Why are you using your name today, and why are you here?
I'm here to protect kids today, and I'm here as part of my healing process also. I want people to know that they don't have to come forward with their names, but for me, I just want to take action and do the best I can to protect kids and to let people know they're not alone.
Well, Megan, the measures that you insisted upon here as a part of this settlement not only reach out to others in northern Minnesota, reach out to kids in India, and this effort today hopefully reaches out to folks across the country. Puts some heat on the Vatican, requires the diocese to step up, and hopefully your wishes about the protection of the kids can be more fulfilled. Megan, you suffered for a while in silence, and after having broken the silence, you have been in therapy, right?
Yes.
And have things gotten better because you broke the silence and got help?
Things have gotten way better. I'm now willing and wanting to live life and help other people, and it's not dark anymore. It's light.
Megan, put the art back up. Megan, this is some of your own artwork. This is done in acrylic or oil? Acrylic on canvas, and these are large works of art that in themselves speak powerfully. I don't have the actual canvases here, but they speak to what, Megan? Tell us about the art.
It's shows kind of what I've been through, but it's also, I use it as a therapeutic tool to help deal with the trauma, and it's a way for me to raise awareness for other people also. You know, they can maybe understand a little more. And
when we first met Megan in 2007, she was 17 years old. She was in and out of the hospital, and had permission to share that she did not want to live. And since that time, she's found her voice, taken her life back, done her work and therapy through art and with the help of a very qualified therapist, and here she is. And this is a triumphal chapter in a journey of hope, help, healing, and courage. Where do you go from here, Megan?
hopefully keep protecting kids and getting my voice heard more, continue to heal and go to school and live life.
And this is a triumphal journey of recovery and courage. And to you, Megan, I'm grateful. And you know, there's those other kids out there who are protected because of your courage today in doing what you're doing. And they can't say thank you, but I will. And I'll say it for those kids now because of what you're doing. They might not have to endure what you did. And so, thank you for that. Any questions?
Megan, how old are you now? 21.
And right now, Megan has finished school up north. She's from Thief River Falls. She has plans to attend Winona State University, work on art, develop a major in child protection and advocacy. And at Winona State University, there is a National Child Protection Training Center, and Megan is intending to roll in there in the fall, and already has started that process, and actually in the winter. And the journey continues, and this will not be the first and last time you hear from Megan Peterson about what can be done, what action needs to be done to better protect children, to expose the Vatican and their protocols of secrecy, to expose the bishops that chose to protect the offender, to share the pain and the journey of hope, healing, and protection. And I'm glad to be here with her.